morning, friends of WLA. My name is Laura Adjangba, and I'm the president of Women Leaders in Action. Thank you for joining us for the 9th episode of Empowered Women Empower. Today's episode is about WLA scholarships, the impact on college students. WLA is a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in New Jersey. We are dedicated to empowering women for success through personal and professional development, mentoring, promoting diabetes awareness, and community outreach activities. I always like to start off with a quote. So today's quote is from the late Nelson Mandela. Education is the great engine of personal development. It is through education that the daughter of a peasant can become a doctor, that the son of a mine worker can become the head of the mine, that a child of farm workers can become the president of a great nation. Nelson Mandela. Okay. Our program today is a little bit different than the usual. We'll start off with an introduction about our scholarship program and also videos from past WLA scholarship recipients and interviews from 2 of our previous scholarship recipients. So I will start off by thanking all the board members, ambassadors, volunteers of WLA. I want to acknowledge you. Thank you for being who you are and doing what you do. I also like to thank our viewers who have been with us. Today is our 9th episode, so they've been coming on all the time. Without further ado, I will introduce WLA's Scholarship Ambassador, Miss Susana Kanyi. Ms. Kanyi is a graduate of Rowan University and Montclair University. She's an educator with over 2 decades of experience and has taught math at various levels, including elementary, high school, and college levels. Ms. Kanyi is, or as I call her, Susana, is dedicated to empowering everyone she comes in contact with. Nothing gives her more satisfaction than the feeling of imparting knowledge and positive change to children as she contributes to making them better members of society. Her educational philosophy is centered around seeing the whole student in the academic process and engaging them in multiple ways so as to help them find their why and see themselves in the learning journey. Having moved to the US at the tender age of 17, Susana has developed a passion for promoting to help attain educational and social equality for the girl child. She firmly believes that if the girl child and woman have the same gender equality afforded them boy or man, there will be no limit to their potential. Outside of school, Ms. Kanyi enjoys playing golf, swimming, and reading. Interestingly enough, one thing that was left out is that she's currently a high school math teacher in Abu Dhabi, so she joins us today from Abu Dhabi. Welcome and thank you for everything you do for WLA. Susana.
Thank you, Mr. Adjangba. Thank you for that introduction. It's actually good evening here, but good morning to you and the guests and the viewers. So as you said, I am the ambassador for the scholarship application for WLA. And every year, WLA offers an opportunity for high school students to apply for a scholarship. So students who are interested in pursuing a major in the STEM field, healthcare, or liberal arts are encouraged to apply. So what we require from each applicant is to fill out a form and write a 500-word essay and provide transcripts from your school and 1 recommendation. In addition to that, we also want you to submit your resume. All these have to be submitted by the deadline, which is May 26th, and that's around the corner. All these documents have to be submitted on our website, which is www.wlanj.org. Now, the importance of scholarships to students cannot be overstated. as they provide a means of reducing the financial burden of attending college. With the rising costs of tuition, textbooks, and other expenses, scholarships can help and will help alleviate some of these burdens. And I cannot stress the importance of the scholarship application process. It's a crucial step in your education or applying for a higher education. Some of the benefits of this are researching and identifying scholarships that match your qualifications, right? Filling out these applications, submitting supporting documents, help one realize how to research and how to apply and how to promote oneself, especially when you write a resume. Now, one thing I have to stress is that the deadlines are important, and that means students have to organize themselves and make sure that they submit their information or the documents before the deadline. Like I said, our deadline is May 26th, so I'm asking that please submit these documents before May 26th so that we can read through them and select our finalists.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kanyi. Much appreciated. And again, please, the deadline is looming. And there's a question that I have to address even without it being asked. And a few years ago, initially when we started, we wanted to just limit the scholarships to women or girls for that matter. But then we realized that a lot of men had applied for these scholarships. So we decided that, hey, we would also open it up to them as well. So it's open to both men and women, or young men and young women, but WLA reserves the right to determine how many of those scholarships go to men and how many go to women. This year, we're offering 4 scholarships, so keep that in mind and please apply. Parents, encourage your daughters and sons, because as we all know, the parents, parents are the ones who push the kids to do what they need to do. So thank you. We're going to move on to the other sector of this episode, which is a little bit different, like I said, from the previous episode. When we were setting this up, we did not realize that a lot of the students who would have been able to participate work on Saturdays, so they can't come on live. And so we asked some of them to present videos. So we're going to go on to the next segment, which would be sharing the videos from past WLA scholarship recipients. In other words, let's see what they have to say about the scholarship.
So, my name is Claire Bochaberi. I'll be attending Rutgers, New Brunswick as a transfer student from Raritan Valley Community College as a junior. And I'll be majoring in exercise science and a minor in bio. And my graduation year will be 2025. I plan to graduate from Rutgers with a major in exercise science and a minor in bio in pursuit of getting into a master's program of physician assistant and also pursuing a career in the medical field as a physician assistant, which stems from my passion of just wanting to make a difference in the lives of many people and assisting them to overcome any health challenges that they may face. Besides working and attending classes, I was fortunate enough to be a part of a club in RVCC named Society of Women in STEM, and which is a club that stimulates young women like me to achieve their full potential in careers in STEM. And the impact of WLA Scholarship has been tremendous. It reduced the financial burden of the rising costs of college education, in which allowed me to find more time and energy to focus on studies rather than my part-time job, and perhaps to just pay for my school, my books. And an advice to incoming WLA scholarship recipients going into college, I would advise each and everyone to be open-minded, to try new things and welcome and embrace change. Position yourself in uncomfortable yet positive places for growth to sprout, and just become a master of time management. And a personal achievement in college that I am proud of, especially at RV, is just making dean and president's list every semester and getting into a prestigious honors club called PTK, which showcased the combination of hard work and learning. And last but not least, as a WLA scholarship beneficiary, I intend to pay it forward by just continuing to volunteer, contribute, support the root cause of nonprofit organizations such as WLA, which is the empowerment of women to excel in both their personal and professional life. Thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Hubert Solorzano and I am currently attending King University. I am majoring in the field of psychology and I'm currently a sophomore expected to graduate in the year 2025. As of right now, I'm currently balancing school and also going to work. I hope I get involved into more things and just get the chance to experience more things that can help me further my education or that involve my major. So the WLA scholarship really helped me just in the way that it really motivated me to continue my education and make sure that I don't let anyone down just because I want to make that scholarship go to good use. So I want to push forward and get my education completed and do a good job at it. My career goals is just to hopefully get the chance to open my own clinic or even be an assistant to a psychologist, specifically child psychology, and putting that degree that I get to use. A personal achievement of mine in college that I have made so far was getting Dean's List my first semester at Kane. And basically overall, I had grades above a B+ and A for all my classes, and it really helped out with my GPA. I got grants and scholarships awarded to me just for my excellent work. As a WLA scholarship recipient, the way I intend to pay this scholarship forward is just to overall not give up when I reach the bare minimum. I know I could get my bachelor's degree, but I really hope I could further my education and hopefully get my master's degree as well. And another way I just want to pay this forward is by helping other people as well, because as a child psychology major, I really want to help our future generation, and I just want to pay back and help other people as well. So I definitely think this scholarship has definitely benefited me because I'll be benefiting other people as well. I just again want to thank WLA for this wonderful scholarship, and I'm definitely going to make this scholarship go to good use, and hopefully I make everyone proud with this.
Hi, my name is Rocio Santiago, and I'm currently transferring to Rutgers University in Newark. I am majoring in psychology, and this will be my sophomore year. My graduation year will be 2025, and my educational goals will be studying abroad in Spain. I would love to learn more about the culture, the people, food, everything about the world. Other than working and attending classes, I do play volleyball. I love playing volleyball for fun, competitively, with my friends, or sometimes with my teammates. And I do plan on joining the volleyball team in Rutgers, Newark. The WLA scholarship has helped me tremendously and impacted my life in such a positive way. I was able to join the psychology club, the volleyball team, and overall pursue everything I wanted to do educationally. For this year's WLA scholarship recipients, I do wish them the best, and I will say this. Always, always, always pursue your goals, your dreams. Do not let anything bring you down. Don't let anybody tell you something that you can't do, because if you really believe in yourself, you can make it happen. You can make a difference in this world. A personal achievement that I made in college that I'm very proud about myself was being in the Vice President's honor rolls list. I worked hard, and I'm very proud of myself for bringing myself up there. As a WLA beneficiary, I intend to keep helping WLA to make a difference and help these recipients to keep moving forward in life, and also Ms. Adjangba, who has helped tremendously, and I owe her one. And I want to keep helping people, letting them know that it's never too late, never give up, and just keep going. And once again, thank you so much, WLA, for this scholarship. I'm truly, truly grateful, and I hope to make a difference in the world and letting people know about this.
Wow. So you heard it from them. It's one thing for WLA to say it, and it's another thing to hear it from me. Claire was the first video you watched, and she is actually graduating from her community college to Rutgers. So she is actually at a graduation ceremony today. Claire, thank you so much for that video, and congratulations. Hubert was the next video. Hubert's video was the next one you watched, doing very well, also King University. Thank you so much for that video, Hubert, and all the best. And then Rocio, who got a scholarship just last year. She's also moving from Union County College to Rutgers University. So we're proud of you all and we thank you. And for our viewers, this is where your money goes. I mean, really, if you think we do the fundraising and we pocket the money, now you know where it goes. So thank you. But we're going to continue with the interviews that I mentioned earlier. And we will start off with Nicole Cabrera Holguin, and then we would move on to Anthony Fosu. So just a brief background, she's going to introduce herself. So Nicole is the first group of scholarship recipients that got scholarships from the WLA. So she's graduating this year, and I'm going to not say anything else but to let you hear it from the girl. Let's hear it from the girl. So Nicole, thank you so much for joining us. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Cabrera Holguin, and I am a 5th year electrical engineering student at Drexel University. So I'm on this road right now where I'm about to graduate. And it's all thanks to WLA. They've helped me since the beginning. They've helped me with not just with the scholarship, but with financial, just with their wisdom and everything. So it's nice to be at this stage and being able to pass down any advice I can give to future applicants.
Nicole, you mentioned your major, but I want you to mention it again, because as we promote women to engage in professions that are on the path but not traditionally women, help me echo electrical engineering.
Yes.
I mean, really, you make a woman proud. So
Thank you.
Go ahead. Okay. That is your major. Is there a minor as well?
No, well, I guess I'm concentrated in power. So I work more with electrical plants like in utility companies rather than like microcontrollers and like the other parts to electrical engineering.
Wow, thank you. And when are you graduating? You mentioned it's this year. Congratulations. Are you excited about that?
Yes, I graduate with actually around a month. So I graduate around June 15th. So with that, then I'm able to just, I guess it's just like that big ceremony for me that like I've been able to work so hard, and 5 years is a lot of time. So to be able to have that paper or the diploma to say like all my work is now here, it's a refreshing and it's sentimental to me. Like I cried a few times, but other than that, it means a lot.
Thank you. We're proud to hear that. What are your educational plans and career goals as you finish?
So right after I graduate, I'm going to take a month off where I can just relax a little bit, because electrical engineering is a tough major, but it's worth it. And then after that, I'll be working at an engineering firm where I'll be continuing more about understanding power and power utility companies and everything about that. So with that, with being an electrical engineer, there are certain pathways that you can go. And with that, you have to take an exam called it's called the FE exam. And with that, if you pass, you get like this, like somewhat of a certification, but you need to work under a professional engineer for 4 years. So then you're able to become one as well. You have to take another exam with that. Like they're both like really long, but with that, you're able to become a professional engineer yourself. And what that means is that my signature goes in blueprints for electrical plants.
Wow. So you become what is known as a PE. I have some friends who make a big deal about being not just engineers, but PEs, which is professional engineers. So it's good to know that's where you're headed. Thank you so much. And eventually, with the profession, are you looking to specialize in any particular area, or just, you mentioned power, correct?
Yeah, so with the PE, I'll just be with the electrical.
I see. Wow, you're educating us. I'm learning as I go. Besides working and attending classes, what activities are you involved in?
So it's changed within the 5 years I've been there, but sorry if you hear noises, but for a good amount of my time, I was a dragons teacher. So what that means is that I did a class where I used my knowledge in STEM to then go out and teach certain schools in Philly. Specifically like elementary schools. So we would do like lesson plans and everything and teach them. So that was honestly one of my biggest accomplishments, because of the fact that I was able to teach what I love to little kids and see their excitement and to see how you could see like that little like light bulb click for them. So that for me was something that I really did love doing. Then also I do mentorship. So at the moment, I'm a part of this club called SWE, which is Society of Women Engineers, and we are helping high school students, specifically women, and teaching, giving them advice or helping them with some activities so that once they become that age where they are graduating high school or when they want to become like, once they go to college, they have our advice and they have like our mentorship with them to help them along the way.
Wow, that's very intriguing and impressive. Okay. You mentioned briefly, Nicole, about WLA Scholarship and what's done for you. In terms of impact on your life, because I'm sure, and I know for a fact, having known you all these years, that you did get scholarships from other areas. What would you say about the WLA Scholarship that had an impact on you?
So for me, it came unexpectedly because I already had like my plans figured out for college and everything. And then Ms. Jumba, you came and you helped me like understand what the scholarships can do and everything. So when I got that, I thought I was settled. I thought I was going to be fine, but then I didn't realize how much college can be, specifically outside of tuition and everything. So there's the fact that you have books, and then some books, specifically in a lot in STEM areas, they have access codes where you have to, there's like a program with it where that's where you would do your homework. So it's to ensure like your professors know that you're reading the textbook and everything. So that costs money as well. Also certain equipment that you need for it. As a STEM major, you have labs. So you need like a coat, you need goggles, you need a lot of protective equipment with it. So that first year, there were so many more bills that I had to do that I didn't expect. So with WLA Scholarship, that helped me immensely with paying for my textbooks, with paying for the equipment that I needed, and also just for like little projects that I had to do for class, like a microcontroller, which is like this little device that you wouldn't think costs much money, but it does. So it's like things like that it helped out so much that I didn't have to worry like, oh, I have to ask my parents for this, or oh, I have to work a little bit harder on my jobs, part-time job that I had at that time. I was able to just focus on my class because I had money from the WLA scholarship.
Wow, very impressive. Thank you so much. What personal achievement in college makes Nicole proud?
So I think graduating is one of the things I'm most proud of at the moment, but I guess developing as a person should be the biggest one, I guess, because of the fact that when I first went into college, I was a quiet, did not like to speak. I was stuttering. Like, I hated public speaking, and I was a very quiet person. I was very different, very closed off. But then as I'm graduating, I've done events where I have to do presentations. I talk more. I don't have that anxiety that I used to have growing up where I was studying and everything. Like sometimes I still mess up here and there, but overall, like I feel much more comfortable as who I am as a person and being able to say what I want to say to people. Like I don't have that fear as much. So that's what I'm proud of.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. We're proud of you also for achieving that. And as a WLA Scholarship beneficiary, how do you intend to pay it forward?
So I realized the importance of giving back because it's a cycle and it can only continue if you do your part to it. So I do plan on staying around, helping as many women, minorities in STEM, because the one thing that I've noticed is that there aren't people who look like me in my career. And unfortunately, it's something that's unfortunate, but I see how there's so many kids who want to get there. Like you see that they have the intelligence, they have like the way their mind works. I can see like, oh, I think like that. But the fact is that sometimes they're not exposed to engineering because their schools don't have it, or schools don't have the those classes that I unfortunately did have growing up. So my goal is to just continuing helping kids, either if it's just mentoring, continuing mentorships, because I do enjoy that. I do love giving advice to younger people. It's nice to see that what I've learned can actually be passed down to someone. So I do plan on mentorship and just continuing my own educations, whether it's maybe not master's, but continue education because of the fact that I can still pass down what I know and meet people who I can help network with younger kids as I get older. So that's my answer.
Nicole, I want to be like you when I grow up. But I would not complete this interview. I'm actually going to open it up to other board members, the WLA board members who happen to be on this show this morning. But there's a question I've always meant to ask you, and I don't think I've had the opportunity to. When did you decide that you wanted to be an engineer, and specifically electrical engineering?
That's actually a good question, because there was a change. So when growing up, I wanted to, I moved in with my sister when I was a freshman in high school. And when I first went in, I wanted to take art classes. I wanted to take an easy A. And my oldest sister, her name is Beth, she did not allow me.
Can you stop for a second? And we need to give credit where credit is due. Beth Lisoho Cabrera, Cabrera Lisoho, I got it wrong, I'm sorry. Cabrera Lisoho is our social media coordinator, and Beth started off as a volunteer with WLA and eventually is on the board right now. And Nicole is Beth's sister. And Beth, thank you for the work you've done to help Nicole get to where she is. We have to give credit where credit is due. So
yes, because of her, I was in engineer classes, because she knew that I would not be happy in art classes, that I get bored. So she put me in the engineering classes, and I have to say, I remember not liking her for that short amount of time because I thought that was going to put so much work. But I am so grateful that she did, because I enjoyed it the second I walked in. The amount of different projects I was on, that it was just so fun, and I didn't get it at first, and that intrigued me and it challenged me. And because of that, I was in the engineering labs like all the time. Sometimes I would miss my lunch and go straight there because I was working on a project. So for me, that having that environment, and my teachers were so helpful, and they were always there for me when I needed help. And they were just, I give them a gratitude as well, because of them, I also got to know different engineers that they had been friends with and everything. So because of that, I got into Drexel and went into electrical engineering, but I went in with the mindset of going in for like coding and like a different side to electrical engineering, that when I went into college, I realized that I didn't like it as much. I like it as a hobby, not as an actual profession and career. So that's how I got into power, because it's something that challenges me, and there's so much math to it. It's the calculus to it. It's insane, but I like sitting in my desk and working out problems and just trying to understand how it works, because it's a system that is very complicated, and it's just it's a puzzle that I like to solve. So that's how I got into it. And I believe I got into power by the third year of my education at Drexel. So then the last 2 years, I've just been honing my skills in that.
Wow, impressive. And one question that I would posit to you specifically as a woman is, what did people tell you? Is there a particular question that you remember someone saying to you as a woman, why are you in this? You won't get far. And how did you turn that around?
So I think, I always get those questions, but I think I just tend to ignore them, because my work shows what I can do. Like, I let my work show that I am capable of doing this. I am smart. Sometimes I'm smarter than some of the guys. So I'd rather stay silent and let my work show of my capability, rather than to talk with them or to let them know, to retort back and let them think that their words affected me, because it didn't at the end of the day, because I'm still here, I'm still moving forward, and I'm about to graduate.
Did it startle you at first when you would get those questions initially? Like, oh my God, why are they telling me this?
I didn't get it more as a woman, but I think it startled me when it was asked to me as a Latina. So that for me was more startling than as a woman, because I was a tomboy. So a lot of the guys didn't really like say that, but seeing that as a Latino, that was hurt me, because it made me realize that some people have stereotypes that Latinos are people who aren't as smart to be there. And that for me was like a drive to like push forward and not to let them get to me. But it did startle me at first because it just made you think like, it just made me realize that there's always going to be people who look down upon me because of the color of my skin, but not to let that bother me and to just show that Latinos are capable of being up there on top with everyone else.
Wow, I never thought of the one always thinks of the gender factor. I never even thought of the ethnic factor. That is very interesting. That as a Latina woman, where are you going with this? Wow, very, very interesting. But I'm glad you did not give up, and I'm glad they did not stop you because you are unstoppable. But I'd like to direct you to the other members of WLA on board if they have any questions.
Yeah, I have a question, Nicole. First of all, you know, your enthusiasm and your passion when you speak, your face lights up, and I get goosebumps when I'm listening to you. And I just want to encourage you and to just wish you all the best with your graduation. And as a teacher, I just love to hear that, okay, maths can be used. There is a reason why we're learning all these calculus and all these equations. But I wanted to ask you, if you had just one piece of advice that you would give to a current high school student right now, what would it be?
I think my current advice is to work hard. I know like when you're in high school, you don't want to, you want to be with your friends, or you don't think that it means anything, but it means so much when you're working hard now, because if you work hard now, you're able to get AP classes, and AP classes, if you do well on those, you're able to use those credits for college, and then that lessens your financial burden with college because you're able to use those credits as a substitute for credits that you'll need for college. So work as hard as you can, ask questions. That's important because I was very quiet in high school and I would never ask questions. But once I got into college, I realized the importance of going up to your professor or to the TA and asking them like, hey, I'm not clear on this. Can you explain further? Because if you develop that ability now in high school, it becomes easier when in college where you don't feel alone. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together, and it becomes easier when we have a community rather than doing it by yourself.
Wow, thank you. Any other questions from anybody else?
Hi, Nicole. My name is Judy St. Tillis. I am the Chief of Staff for WLA. I just first of all want to say congratulations. You make me proud. Don't let anyone stop you. Absolutely go for all your goals in life. I am very impressed that you are an engineer major in power, and the key as well is networking. You know, go out there, like you said, make friends, don't be shy, and let people know what you're all about, so that way you can build on that. For instance, if you have a resume, you could send it to me. I know people in the power engineering field that I can forward your resume to as well. I don't know what your plans are after graduation, but they're always looking for new Latino diversities big out there. So send out your resume, network, and make it good for yourself. Congratulations on all your accomplishments.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Can we all give a round of big applause to Nicole? Job well done. Wow. Anyway, so thank you so much for doing this, and you make all of us proud. And this is the essence of the scholarships, the fundraising for WLA scholarships targeting high school students going to college. So this is Nicole, like I said at the beginning, is among the first group of scholarship recipients when we started the scholarship program. So we bow to you, we acknowledge you, and we're very, very proud. Thank you so much. Muchísimas gracias.
Well, thank you all. Thank you for WLA and everything, because I've been to like some of the events and everything, and it's always so nice to see like what you've done. So thank you as well.
Thank you. You'll be definitely our poster child for scholarships. Thank you. Poster woman, should I say? Okay. The last but not the least, past scholarship recipient for WLA is Mr. Anthony Fosu. And Anthony, thank you so much for joining us this morning and being a part of this program. We appreciate you. So could you please introduce yourself and then we'll take it from there.
Well, good morning, WLA, and thank you so much for that kind introduction, Laura. I'm really grateful to be on with all of you right now, and I'm really excited to be doing this and to hopefully encourage some high school students while we're out here. So my name is Anthony. I'm 24. We go by our class years at my school at Dartmouth College. I'm a third-year student studying government with minors in public policy and human-centered design on a pre-law track. And I have been extremely gratified to be a past recipient of the WLA Scholarship, along with receiving a lot of the wisdom and resources and kindness from Laura and WLA especially. And so I'm just really grateful to be here right now, and especially to have been a recipient not just of this monetary reward, but truly the reward of the community that WLA has built.
Wow. Thank you, Anthony, and welcome aboard. When I said sometimes, you see, the good thing about leadership, which WLA exudes all the time, is that even when you have sets of rules, sometimes you have to go back and look at your rules or your bylaws and say, do we do this again or do we amend accordingly? So I mentioned this earlier. When we started, the goal was, of course, to award these scholarships to women mostly. And then along came applicants like Anthony, and we're like, oh my God, can we go back and revisit the bylaws? Can we just amend it accordingly? And thank you, Anthony, because you your resume was impressive and you made us go back to the drawing board to say, yes, we can still change things a little bit here so we can encourage others and not just women. So for that, we're grateful. You are at Dartmouth College, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you mentioned an aspect of your major, or is it your minor, that intrigues me, because up until recently I had never heard about it. So I would like to just ask you to just explain a little bit about it. You mentioned you're a government major, correct? With a pre-law track, you said, okay. And part of your minor is human-centered design. I had to Google that after I got your resume. Can you tell us a little bit about what that entails for people who may be thinking about that?
Absolutely.
What is that?
Yeah. So human-centered design is basically an approach to problem solving. We just heard from Nicole and her fabulous story about being an electrical engineer and focusing on power. And human-centered design is a discipline that borrows from engineering, but also takes from psychology and anthropology in true liberal arts form to understand how we can solve problems, not just by looking at problems in of themselves, but looking at human need. And so when you're looking at someone and you're trying to understand what they need, you want to look at their psychology. You want to look at where they're from, how they perceive things, how they're using things, and you use that information to empathize with them so that you can go through the process of trying to brainstorm and ideate alongside them so that you can prototype and test new solutions. What I use human-centered design for is designing policies, specifically related to education. And so basically it's just this approach to problem solving that looks at the human, looks at the person and what they need and how we can fulfill those needs. And I apply that discipline to problem solving and public policy.
Wow. Very interesting. So someone who decides to major in human-centered design, what kind of jobs could they take on?
Yeah, you can basically apply it to any field. Of course, with interface roles, especially in like big tech companies, ranging from engineering, where you're using human interface design, or even in law and policy, because you're using methods like informational interviewing or motivational interviewing, or ethnographic methods from anthropology to understand what a person is, like what they need and where they're coming from. So I've actually used some elements of human-centered design when I was at the Department of Education one summer working on grant making processes for college students like us. So during the pandemic, the US government had released a couple $1 billion in Higher Education Emergency Relief Funds Act. And I was helping one of the program officers in the Office of Post-Secondary Education figure out how to get all of this different money to different schools. And so using human-centered design processes, I essentially helped the program officer think of new ways to automate parts of these processes so that we can screen different applicants from different schools for their need and understand how we can assess for risk and then be able to award the funds according to the government grant rules. So that's just one example of like human-centered design in action, but it really can be applied to any discipline that you have in human interaction and you can identify a human need.
Interesting. I've learned something very new. So I'm going to pose this a question to you. So in a situation like Nicole's, where people are saying, you're a Latina woman, why are you going to electrical engineering? How would you use human-centered design to convince Latinas specifically, not just the Latino population, Latinas to get into that field?
All right, this is a great question. I think this is something that I've been.
I know you didn't see that coming.
I thought a lot about things like this because one of the things I've been focusing on here is education policy. How do we make opportunities and access to opportunities more available to underserved populations? So specifically to your question, how do we get more Latino women to focus up in STEM? Well, we're looking at a certain population of students, right? Latina women.
Yes.
But you also probably want to focus in on, like, say, a place like New Jersey, where we're based. So you want to focus in on New Jersey. So maybe like somewhere like Union County or maybe like Perth Amboy. So first you want to identify your user base, like who are you actually talking to, and then go talk to these folks. What's encouraging Latina women to go into STEM currently? And then what's like deterring them? And so you're going to want to do some interviews with folks who are in high school, Latina women who are in high school, and understand for them like what motivates them if they are in STEM, or what's deterring them, or what's attracting them to other fields. So once you begin to understand what they're actually going through, that's the first step. And we use frameworks from the Stanford design process, but we start to empathize with them, start to do some interviewings. Then you want to start to define your problem. So we interview some folks from a high school, say in like Perth Amboy, where we're talking to Latina students, and we figure out that they feel like deterred from STEM because they're missing critical aspects of math skills. Perhaps because their school doesn't offer, say, AP Calculus or BC Calculus, or because they're not getting the foundational support they need in understanding basic concepts in math. And if you don't have that foundation in math, you're not going to be able to succeed later on in STEM. And a lot of schools will track students in that they will place them either in higher or lower tracks, depending on what they think their math ability is. And so if we can understand where the choke point for that is, we can understand how we can start to ideate. That's the next step. Brainstorm different solutions. So what is it that they need? Do they need more tutoring support? Do they need more one-on-one instruction? Is it that they need to do more practice and they need more structure with that? And so what we can do now that we moved from defining to ideating, we prototype this. So let's think of like a program, for example, at a Perth Amboy High School for Latina students and girls. How might we, and this is a cornerstone of human-centered design thinking, think of how might questions. How might we encourage Latina girls in this high school to pursue degrees in STEM by supporting them in math? And we can dream up a different type of program. We can source funding from different parts of the schools. We can get teachers together to also brainstorm on this. And once we prototype this and we design this program, we test it. We invite these girls to maybe come to a focus session. They do some tests and things. And we also do some teach-ins to show them what it's like to go into a career in STEM. And all of this is just part of this whole process of human-centered design, where you're empathizing with your target audience, you're defining the problem, then you're ideating or brainstorming how to do this, you're prototyping, designing certain solution, then you're testing. So EDIPT. And once you test a solution, you can see whether or not it's successful, but then you go back through the process. You test this out for one time, you go through one tutoring session, and you're asking students, is this helping you? Is this guiding you towards another career? Is this encouraging you? And the key here is that you're designing with, not designing for. When we're trying to problem solve, we're not just trying to serve people by just saying, we're going to come on from on high and give you what you need to succeed. No, instead it's like, we're going to come alongside you so that we can walk with you. And so we're all like succeeding together.
Very, very thoughtful and thought-provoking. Thank you so much. I think we need to use that approach to understand why sometimes people don't apply for our WLA scholarships too. So we'll be tapping into your fountain of knowledge. But thank you so much. Very impressive. And thank you for breaking it down, because like I said, I was intrigued. Human-centered design, I'd never heard of it before. So I actually Googled it, and I'm glad you're explaining. Okay. So your graduation date is next year. You said you're a junior this year, correct?
Yes.
Is that it? Okay. And what are your education plans and career goals?
Yes. So I also mentioned that I'm on a pre-law track. And so my current plan is to attend law school either right after my undergrad, or to take a gap year and do either some type of scholarship program like Fulbright or Rhodes or another scholarship program, so I can get some experience before I head to law school. And my hope is to go into law for the public interest. Specifically, I'm looking at education law. I'm looking at different law clinics right now at different law schools. But I specifically want to be going into the public interest, advocating for issues related to education. There are cases right now in the Supreme Court referring to affirmative action, which deeply affects how college admissions is going to go in the future. And my hope is that I can combine my interest in education and policy design and in the law to advocate. And the work that WLA is doing is super important and is foundational to a lot of the efforts that people are doing right now. If organizations like WLA didn't exist, many students wouldn't find the support they need to actually go to college, because it can be prohibitively expensive, as we've heard from all of our panelists today. So my hope is to continue to address these inequities and hopefully raise up folks as well.
Thanks, Anthony. You've already touched on this already, so if there's anything that you left out earlier, you can add to it. But the question is, how has the WLA scholarship helped you or impacted your life? And I think you mentioned some aspects of it. And if there's anything else that you felt you forgot to, you can add to it now.
Yeah. I'll just briefly add just and emphasize the community aspect of it. Laura, I mean, you've been such an inspiration for me, just as a child of Ghanaian immigrants, and wanting to do law and seeing you do your own immigration law practice. It's been inspiring, and you even came and spoke to our pre-law society, and that's been extremely formative for me, because it helps me to know how I can also make an impact on others. And this includes encouraging folks to explore different fields like in the law, because we do need a new generation of lawyers and advocates, because our communities do need it. Every day we are facing new challenges, and I'm always encouraged, inspired by that. And I'm also just encouraged by the other scholarship recipients and such. Even though I am a man and I'm benefiting from this, I see myself also just encouraging folks like my little sister, or just the folks in my community, in my church community, where I found out about WLA, and helping them to also apply and do more.
Thanks, Anthony, and thanks for that acknowledgement. And I was very touched early on this year when Anthony invited me to be a panelist on the Dartmouth student, is it African students? I can't remember this association, but just to give words of wisdom. And I want you to remember, as we speak here today, for everybody on board, everybody listening, we are all vessels being used. And if you don't realize that, it's a journey. So long as you can lift someone up along the way, please do so. Nicole has spoken about what we've done for them. Anthony has also spoken about what WLA, what we've done for them. And it's always a pleasure to go out there and help, and reach out to us whenever you're having any difficulties, because you never know who we know. As Judy also said, as Susana said, that we may be able to connect to you. But I am just, I feel like a small fish in a big ocean, helping to, facilitate the process for students like you. And we appreciate what you are doing. That is what we get back when we do what we do, seeing you going places and doing the things that you do. So thank you so much for that. What personal achievement in college makes you proud, Anthony?
Good question. I think one of my proudest personal accomplishments, I think, was starting a mentorship program. So I'm currently president of our local chapter of the NAACP, National Association of the Advancement of Colored People. And one thing that we did was started a mentorship program for high school students in our area, in the greater Boston area. It was really impactful in the sense that we were also helping students to guide them through the college application process. And for me, it was just a way to understand that this work that we're doing is changing lives. It's allowing folks to be able to access college and college education, whereas they might not have, especially for kids and students that look like me. And it's important. And the fact that I was able to do that and kind of apply the things I was learning in the classroom to that work was extremely inspiring and fruitful for me.
Thank you. What advice do you have for this year's WLA scholarship applicants?
Yeah. Okay. So first, use your network. You don't realize it, but you have a lot of social capital. Whether or not you go to church or just in your school or your teachers, there are people who are willing and able to help you. And all you got to do is really just ask. It can be daunting. I know it does feel daunting, having to learn how to network and stuff, but it's really just a matter of talking and asking for help when you need it. And I'm still learning how to do that. Quite honestly, I'm still learning how to ask for help, and especially as I start to think about and apply to law school, it's a lot of stuff to think about. The other thing I'll just mention is just that as much as possible, start early, and as you're talking to people, seeking advice, do write a lot of these things down, because you never know when you're going to be asked those same questions you're asking other people right now. And it's important to be able to try to pay that forward too.
Thank you. How do you, Anthony, intend to pay it forward?
I intend to pay it forward. I want to start now. As soon as I jump on this call, I'm definitely going to send a link to WLA website to folks from my high school, but also from my church community. I want to also work on these issues of equity in education, because these are, I think, these issues of our time. If we're not ensuring that we can break the glass ceiling for our girls and sisters, then I don't know what we're doing, especially because these are the issues that will drive how we move in the future. I also want to say that I want to work on how we uplift one another, especially through the college application process. There's been so many changes and disruptions. The year I graduated with the pandemic, it was really hard to do it. So I want to spend more time volunteering and helping others with their college application process. So if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out as well. So.
We will be recruiting the scholarship ambassadors here, and she's smiling all the way from Abu Dhabi, looking like, Anthony's going to be working with me. You just volunteer yourself, Anthony. So thank you for that, and you're on record, so you can't back out later. So we thank you. We thank you for offering your services. We do need that to do things better as we move on. I'd like to open this again to other members on board, the WLA board ambassadors. Any questions for Anthony? None? Not from you, the Scholarship Ambassador?
No, I was on mute, so I definitely, Anthony, I'm mesmerized. I'm sitting here listening to you, and I'm just absorbing everything you're saying. As a scholarship ambassador, I'll be honest, it has been difficult to get students to apply for these scholarships. Can you give us some advice, maybe one or two things, how we can better reach out to these students to make this? It seems like the scholarship process is long and students just don't have any interest in applying. Give us some advice, one or two things that can help us.
Yep.
A la human-centered design. I said that's a question that you can still apply that to.
Yeah, absolutely. Two approaches come to mind, and I encourage you to try to find ways to kind of like test this out. But first, finding students where they are. Where are students hanging out the most, like online, right? So your social media apps, like your TikToks, like your Snapchat, your Instagram, often you can use targeted ads. I mean, we've seen how companies use data to target specific audiences. So you can also use that for WLA, especially for geographic regions. So targeted ads in that sense, but also lowering the barrier to entry, and then connecting with high schools. So actually that was three. So lowering barrier to entry is mostly just how are you making the application not necessarily easier, but a lot like less complicated. Maybe consolidating all of the form into one page on the website, or just having one recommendation instead of two, or just instead of recommendations, just references, so that recommenders don't have to make a whole letter. And then final thing, connecting with high schools. Guidance counselors love to see when local organizations can support their students. So just this is often publicly available, at least for public schools, who the guidance counselors are, emailing their office saying that we have scholarships available to their students. Here's a way here's what they can apply to. Please send them our way. And they'll put that in their offices, and hopefully we'll connect with more students.
Thank you. Judy, do you have any questions for me?
Well, Anthony, I must say you are a very impressive young man. I am very proud of what you have accomplished so far, and I wish you the best in all the future endeavors. You are our future, and I applaud you for taking the steps that you have taken to get where you are at now. I'm getting teary-eyed. I'm just so impressed by you. And I wish you all the best in the future, because you are the future. You know, you're looking out and you're seeing to yourself, what can I do to make life better for everyone that's coming behind me, for people that are in front of me right now? What can I do to make their lives better? And I applaud you for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Judy. Thanks, Susan. So we come to the conclusion of this episode, almost, but not of everything. Every time you do something or you put something together, you hear the positives, like you guys have echoed today. We've heard all the positives. But what I always like to do when I would go with my children for their parent-teacher conferences, I was one of the few parents who insisted on going with them. They didn't relish that, because most parents would go and come back and tell them what the teacher said. I'm like, no, come in here so we can all hear it together. But one thing I always ask the teachers is, what are we doing well? And what can we do better? So I would like to first direct that question to Nicole. What is WLA doing well as far as the scholarship process, and what can we do better?
Okay. Okay, that's an interesting question. So what do we do? Well, I guess overall having the application and having the scholarship open for everyone, that's the thing, and also opening up to both man and woman, that's something that I think is doing well. Better, I might not be like how Anthony, like as smart as Anthony with these types of topics, but I guess
No, everybody's smart.
But I guess what can we do better? Maybe opening up to more majors. I guess that might be another way to do better, but that's just my thoughts.
Okay, Thank you so much, Nicole. Anthony, back to you. You saw how Nicole quickly divvied that question to you. Thanks to your human-centered design background. She's like, Anthony.
I mean, Nicole, I don't think you give yourself enough credit,
I
especially
know.
like teaching like elementary schoolers and middle schoolers. Yeah, I think that WLA definitely does do well. I mean, I'm here with the women's leader in action, and as a man, I'm like benefiting from this, and so I'm really grateful. And so I just want to recognize that, always acknowledge that. Um, in terms of what we can be doing better, I'm thinking like, how else are like we doing outreach to students, and how can we connect scholarship recipients together? It's like I think it's advanced to this stage where you have different class years represented, and so you can always connect them together. And when good people connect, I think good things happen. So
Thank you so much. That's something I didn't think of before. Now, I will implement as we go along. The other question is, would both of you, and I'm asking online so that we can hold you, be willing to work with Susana to make this a better and bigger project? Is that a yes?
Yes.
yeah, of course.
Yes from Nicole.
Yeah.
Yes from Anthony. Thank you so much, and thank you guys for everything, even taking time out of your hectic schedules to be here today and to spend time with us and to be part of the WLA journey. We're all vessels being used by God. So I thank you so much for that. And I'd like to also move on to, I hope you stay with us while we do this, move on to wishing. It takes a lot to put this together, and my knowledge of technology is here and there. So my production team is always there to help and to educate me on the do's and don'ts. And two of them, Rosie is not here today with us. I believe she's online. And Amy is also my assistant that also helps, very instrumental in putting this together. And today is Amy's birthday. So I would like to acknowledge Amy. Please show your face to say a big, where are you, Amy? You have to show your face. They have to see you. There she is. Thank you, Amy. So she is the guru behind the scenes, putting together the videos, just putting everything together. And Rosie also helps. Rosie Pando is not on today, but I want to say a very big happy birthday to you, Amy, and thank you for what you do. Sometimes we forget to say thank you to the very people who are close and dear and near to us. So thank you so much, and enjoy your day today. Thank you. I would like to continue on to wish all the mothers who have made it possible, even for our scholarship recipients, to even apply, encourage them, because we know a lot comes from the home. And if the parents are not involved, nothing happens. So I'm acknowledging them first. And all the mothers today, happy Mother's Day in advance to all of you. If you're a godmother, an aunt, a mentor to a student, all the women, it should be a women, and Mother's Day. We thank you so much for everything that you do. And we are delighted that you continue to encourage these students to apply and do what they do very well. So happy Mother's Day to everyone. And I would be remiss if I did not thank God for making it possible for us to do what we do, WLA. Our viewers, thank you so much for the support. This is the 9th episode. It started like a dream, and here we are now, episode number 9. So thank you. I also like to acknowledge the WLA Executive and Advisory Board members. Some of them are on today, some are not. The ambassadors, Ms. Susana Kanyi, all the way from Abu Dhabi, thank you. Our volunteers, without whom we would not get anything done. My staff, always here early to get things done. And our families who always support us. My family members know if it's the second Saturday of the month at 10 on the morning, I have to be dashing off to do this, to do episodes like this for the WLA. So we thank you. The scholarship applicants to be, we hope you will apply. And of course, our scholarship recipients, thank you, because you're the essence of what we do. Without you, we would not be able to do what we do well. And for all the donors who give us money to support these events, we are grateful. we thank you. And from WLA family, thank you. Happy Mother's Day in advance again. And join us again next month. Thank you.